folks, a big round of applause for Travis Nelson.
6'9". It's exciting, isn't it? Look what I did, Edmonds. Look how big I got. It's good to be a tall guy for the most part. I will say all too often people like to come up to me and they like to tell me what they would have done had they gotten my height. And that is disrespectful. Because they're always like, man, if I was you, I'd be making millions of dollars in the NBA. I just gotta stand there like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Wow. And I can't throw it back their way. They get all offended when I'm like, oh yeah, man, if I was you, I would have made shit work with your ex-wife. Think of how much money we both could have had. Recently, people have started asking me what type of white person I am. And I think it's innocent. I think they see me on big, like, that's gotta be what, Scandinavian, beard's a little red, maybe there's some Irish in there. So they ask, and I tell them, truly I don't know. 3/4 of my grandparents were adopted, so the only thing I know for sure about my ancestry is it was probably alcoholic. But they can't accept that. They're like, no, man, do the DNA test, 23andMe. I tell them, like, man, I don't need the DNA test. I know what type of white person I am. I am white, but I am not white enough to pay $100 to find out what type of white person I am. No, that's me. It's weird being a comedian nowadays. Everyone wants to tell you what jokes you can do, what jokes you can't do. Some comedians hate it. I appreciate the feedback. I used to have a joke about sweatshop workers until someone came up to me after a show and they explained, I don't think you should do a joke about sweatshop workers because you don't even know what it's like to be a sweatshop worker. And I told them, well, I have walked a lot of miles in their shoes. Workers. Feedback is important. Come from a funny family, man. Everyone has their own sense of humor. My dad preferred pranks over jokes, but he was terrible at pranks. Like, here's his first prank I remember. My older brother had his first loose tooth. My dad had a string from his loose tooth to the kitchen doorknob. So my brother and I thought, all right, he'll just slam the door. That's gonna remove the tooth. So we focused on the door, but that was misdirection. My dad lit a match and waved it on my brother's face, who jumped and jerked his face away. That's not really a prank, Dad. I think we just combined fire and dentistry. Is all you did. I don't mean to make it sound like I had a traumatic childhood. I did not. In fact, I think I traumatized my dad when I was a kid. I only ever got spanked one time. The first time I got spanked, me and my brother got in trouble. My dad was spanking my older brother, and when he spanked my older brother, he just broke down, and he did that little kid, ugly foghorn cry. You ever seen that one where they just lose it? Like, and they get to a high point, and that's where they run out of breath, but they're little, and they've never run out of breath before, so they think they're dying. Like, great. But at that point, I was like, oh no, this is terrible, because, Dad is the man of the household. We need him to respect us. After that, even the family dog didn't respect my brother. The dog was looking at him like, man, that was even tough for me to watch, and I couldn't even see it in color. So I saw that, and I told myself, Travis, no matter what happens here, no matter what happens, don't cry. And my dad spanked me, and I didn't cry. But I did look back and smile at him. Let me walk you through the thought process. I kind of thought, I'll just look back and give him a cool, confident smile, right? Let him know. No tears up here, Papa Bear. Dry eyes, right? I know the eldest son cried. Perhaps a promotion is in order. That's what I was thinking. But in real life, man, I just turned around to my dad like a freaky little weirdo, like, ha 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 ha! It seems to be the problem, officer. Poor guy. He just walked right into the room like, honey, we can't spank that one again. I'm not sure, but I think he liked it. I'll tell you what though, my dad never spanked me again. And he also never hugged me. Never got the birds and the bees talk growing up, that puberty talk. My dad tried when I was 10, but he didn't try very hard. He was like, look, you're 10, pretty soon you're gonna hit puberty, you're gonna start getting erections, okay? What you need to know about erections is, you can't pee with an erection, or you'll make a whole mess. And that was the end of the talk. I was so upset. I was like, Dad, what about a girlfriend? Why don't you help me out and tell me how to get a girlfriend? My dad was like, what do you want a girlfriend for? She's just gonna give you an erection, and how you gonna pee then? Don't have a girlfriend. I have an ex-girlfriend. She was great. She's legally blind though, and my friends were like, dude, stop making fun of the fact she's blind. She hates it, she's gonna dump you. And I was naive. I was like, what's she gonna do? She's gonna dump me and go date a tall Russian guy, a tall British guy, a tall German guy. And I'm sure at some point I'm gonna run out of accents. Until then, I think I got it. A lot of female friends. I was thinking about it, man. You know what the big difference between my female friends and my male friends is? My female friends have this acute social intelligence that they use to navigate a world in which they have less privilege than men. They also have a hoo-ha and bazoongas. Those are the differences. But I was thinking about it, and you look back in history, women very constantly were inventing things that men were taking credit for. The structure of the DNA helix was taken from a woman to a man. Just basic computer programming. That was a woman's invention that men took credit for. And I feel like to get us back for it, women have started inventing things and making men think that we invented those things just to mess with us. For example, you think men invented a man cave? No, that was a genius woman. Who said, husband, I took all your shit I don't like and I put that in the basement. That could be your cave now. And that triggered like the caveman part of the man's brain. And he was like, yeah, my cave. Finally, I'm free. I have freedom to live in my cave. And it took him like 2 months before he was like, baby, so who does the rest of the house belong to? She's just having friends over, like, man, your place is so great nowadays. I don't know how you do it. And she's like, you wouldn't believe if I told you. I call it a man cave. It is actually a man quarantine. I'm not an exciting person, but I know the most exciting thing I've ever done. When I was 21 years old, I went skydiving, but I didn't go because I'm an adrenaline junkie or a thrill seeker. To be honest with you, I went for a very personal reason. I went skydiving because I wanted to touch a cloud. And I know you can't touch clouds, but here's the thing. Sometimes they kind of look like you can. And that was enough for me as a kid. I was like, oh man, that one looks good, right guys? I just want to feel that cloud. And my friend's like, what are you talking about? You can't touch clouds. Clouds are condensed water at high altitude. And I was like, probably most of them, but there's no way you've checked them all. There's gonna be a cotton candy one or two. That's what I'm looking for. I got to be 21, I got to the skydiving place. They didn't have, like the first thing they had to do is put on a jumpsuit, but they didn't have a 6'9" jumpsuit. The one they gave me fit me like a wrestling singlet. It was just too short in my legs and my arms, and way too short in the torso, which was the problem area, because that just wedged up on me. This is my childhood dream, now I'm just flashing a landing field, right? I told myself, Travis, don't let the embarrassment hold you down. Let it roll off your back, because you're gonna touch a cloud today. And then I got to meet my jumping instructor, who had to be strapped to my shoulders because I had never jumped before. And I think they picked the wrong guy for me, because he was like 5'4". I put this man on like a backpack. Just one strap at a time, and tally hose, moving around back there, just yelling at me to stop wiggling him, little legs waggling back and forth. I was like, no man, this is your whole day now. You're a wiggle guy now. That was embarrassing because, to be honest with you, it kind of looked like I was wearing like a baby Bjorn. But he was way older than me. I was 21. This guy had like a big white bushy beard, so I just looked like I was walking around like the proud father of a much older man. Just piggybacking with Benjamin Button. I told myself, Travis, don't let the embarrassment hold you down. Let it roll off your back. You're getting that cloud today, right? And then I got to meet everyone I was jumping with. And there was an 80-year-old woman there that day, which was incredible. They said she'd like run a marathon recently. Now she was skydiving, just checking stuff off her bucket list. I saw her. She was spry. She had poofy gray hair. And she had braces, which seemed insane for 80. You make it to 80 and your teeth are still there. Just leave them alone. But I was inspired by her. I went up, I said, ma'am, it's such an inspiration to jump with you today. I'm so happy to be a part of your journey. And she looked at me and she said, how tall are you? And I said, 6'9". And she said, wow, how about you give me a few inches later? And she winked at me. Childhood dream turned PG-13. I think I totally misjudged that woman. I think she was just laying in wait when I walked into the airport hangar. She was like, well. Welcome to my bucket list. You're number one. So we all get on the plane. The way they have the plane set up is there's a door you jump out of. They have a staging area where you're supposed to get ready before you jump out of the plane, and they have a bench where everyone sits. Everyone sits in order of how they're gonna jump. I jump last. I have to sit on the end by the door. Everyone else got to sit normal on this bench, but I had a man strapped to my back. So I had to sit like kind of spread eagle with his little legs wrapped around me. His little shoes tucked up front. And that didn't feel like protocol. It just felt like it was comfy as for little old him. And we're by the door, so we're the last thing anyone gets to see before they jump out of the plane. And risk their lives falling towards the earth. Oh, a man wrapped around a larger man. That'd be fun to think about, actually. They finally got down to the last person before me, which was that 80-year-old woman. And she got up with some gusto, or moxie, or whatever her generation might call that emotion. And she blew past the staging area, reached out, grabbed my cheek and pinched it as if I was a boy, and then leaned in and kissed me on the mouth as if I was a man. And then just fell back out of the plane, backwards. And I don't think you should kiss a stranger like that. But if you do it like that. Kind of swooned me for a second. Was that James Bond's mom? Somebody had a t-shirt. And I was thrown for a second because I was there to have a big life experience, and that was a pretty big life experience at 21. Not to mention for a second there, the bushy white beard behind me, poofy gray hair in front of me. That was kind of like a cloud. Didn't know what to do. I stood up and there's all these clouds rushing by, and I was talking to him like, "It's you, Cloud. It's been you since childhood." And he started to panic back here, which was fair. We had a long orientation talk about not jumping directly into the clouds. And he was like, "Remember what I said during orientation?" And I said, "I know. But what I didn't tell you was, man, you just gotta roll with my dreams, Grandpa Backpack." And I picked up a cloud and I counted down. I said 3, 2, 1, and I jumped. And you guys, clouds are condensed water. And condensed water at high altitude, well, that would be ice crystals. Yeah. And ice crystals at terminal velocity as you're falling towards the earth, ooh, they are not fluffy at all. They're so sharp, they'll break your skin, which is why they have you wear the jumpsuit. Oh wait, mine didn't fit me very well. So I'm getting torn apart, falling through this cloud, and the only thing I can picture in my mind is my 80-year-old makeout session at 10,000 feet. All right, my name is Travis Nelson. Thank you guys very much.
Oh, look, the subscribe button to my YouTube channel. I guess right now you could hit that if you wanted to. I mean, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, you could click on that. So I guess that's just your choice.